Today, let's explore together how to approach workplace relationship stress from a scientific perspective. Many of us experience emotional exhaustion after difficult interactions with colleagues, and this is a very real and valid concern that deserves careful attention. I've chosen this theme because recent neuroscience research has revealed fascinating insights into how workplace social dynamics affect our brain function and overall well-being. Understanding these mechanisms can help us develop more effective and sustainable approaches to managing workplace relationships. Let me share some important scientific evidence about workplace relationship stress and its effects on our brains. Current research from multiple universities suggests that workplace social stress creates measurable changes in brain structure and function. A comprehensive study using functional MRI technology examined the brains of workers experiencing chronic occupational stress compared to healthy control groups. The research found significant alterations in emotional regulation networks and functional connectivity patterns in those experiencing workplace stress. According to research institutions, workplace stress particularly affects two crucial brain regions, the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. These areas are essential for working memory, emotional regulation, and decision-making processes. When we experience chronic workplace relationship stress hormones like cortisol and catecholamines can create lasting structural changes in these brain regions, which may explain why workplace conflicts often feel so overwhelming and difficult to process logically. Neuroscience research has revealed something particularly interesting about workplace social stress. Studies suggest that interpersonal stress at work triggers the same neurological responses as physical threats, activating our fight or flight response systems. This means that when we're dealing with difficult colleagues or toxic workplace relationships, our brains literally interpret these situations as threats to our safety, which can impair our ability to think clearly and respond constructively. Recent research has also identified specific patterns in how workplace relationship stress affects our neural networks. Brain imaging studies indicate that chronic interpersonal workplace stress creates what researchers call a functional uncoupling between emotional processing centers and rational decision-making areas. This helps explain why workplace conflicts can feel so emotionally intense and why it's often difficult to maintain perspective during challenging interpersonal situations at work. Additionally, research institutions have begun studying the unique effects of digital workplace interactions on our brains. Studies suggest that virtual communication stress, including what researchers colloquially call video conferencing fatigue, creates distinct patterns of brain activation that differ from in-person social stress. The research indicates that digital workplace environments place additional cognitive load on brain areas responsible for social cognition and emotional interpretation. Now let's explore some practical, science-based methods for managing workplace relationship stress. The first approach is called the prefrontal activation protocol. This technique is based on neuroscience research showing that we can intentionally shift brain activity away from stress-reactive regions toward analytical processing areas. When you're facing a stressful workplace interaction, try immediately engaging your prefrontal cortex by mentally identifying 5 specific details about your physical environment. This might include noticing the texture of your desk, the color of a nearby object, or the temperature of the room. This evidence-based technique literally redirects your brain's attention and can help reduce the intensity of stress responses. The second method involves what researchers call social brain reset training. This approach is grounded in neuroplasticity research, which shows that our brains can form new neural pathways throughout our lives. The technique involves practicing controlled exposure to workplace social situations while maintaining predetermined response patterns. Before entering potentially challenging interactions with colleagues, spend a few minutes rehearsing specific responses or phrases you might use. Research suggests that this advanced preparation creates new neural pathways that can bypass habitual stress-reactive patterns, helping you respond more thoughtfully rather than reactively. A third approach is the neuroplasticity communication technique, which involves consciously reframing workplace interactions as opportunities for brain development. Before difficult conversations, spend about 60 seconds visualizing successful outcomes while taking slow, deep breaths. This practice activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and digest response, and primes neural networks for more constructive social engagement. The breathing component is particularly important because research shows that controlled breathing can quickly shift our nervous system state. The fourth method is called emotional regulation circuit training. This technique is based on research showing that naming or labeling emotions activates the prefrontal cortex and reduces activity in the amygdala, which is our brain's alarm system. Throughout your workday, try implementing micro-meditation sessions by setting hourly reminders to pause for 30 seconds of focused breathing while mentally labeling your current emotional state. You might think something like, I notice I'm feeling frustrated right now, or, I'm experiencing some anxiety about this meeting. This simple practice of emotion labeling has been shown in research to help regulate emotional responses and increase our capacity for thoughtful decision-making. The fifth approach involves developing digital boundary protocols. Research suggests that constant digital connectivity prevents our brain's natural stress recovery cycles, maintaining chronic activation of stress response systems. Try establishing specific times for checking work communications and creating physical barriers between work and personal spaces when possible. This might involve turning off work notifications after certain hours, or having a dedicated workspace that you can physically leave at the end of the workday. These boundaries allow your nervous system time to recover and reset. Finally, research supports the importance of creating what scientists call social support neural networks. This involves intentionally cultivating positive workplace relationships through brief daily interactions with supportive colleagues. Brain imaging studies suggest that positive social connections literally strengthen neural pathways associated with resilience and emotional regulation. This doesn't require grand gestures. Even brief, friendly exchanges or expressions of appreciation can contribute to building these supportive neural networks. Let me summarize what we've discussed today about the neuroscience of workplace relationship stress. First, workplace stress physically affects your brain's emotional regulation circuits, creating measurable changes in neural connectivity and function. Second, prefrontal activation techniques can help override automatic stress-reactive patterns by engaging analytical brain regions. Third, social brain retraining through practice and preparation can create new neural pathways for more successful workplace interactions. Fourth, digital boundaries are essential for allowing your brain's natural stress recovery cycles to function properly. Fifth, positive workplace connections actively strengthen the neural networks associated with resilience and emotional regulation. Sixth, emotion labeling practices activate rational thinking brain regions and help regulate emotional responses in real time. It's important to remember that healing and growth take time, and that's perfectly natural and expected. The neuroscience research we've discussed today offers hope because it shows us that our brains have the remarkable ability to adapt and rewire themselves even after years of workplace relationship stress. These evidence-based techniques aren't just temporary coping strategies, they're methods that can create lasting structural changes in how your brain processes workplace social situations. Change often happens gradually, and every small step you take is valuable progress toward better workplace well-being. If today's discussion provided any support or insight, please hit the like button to let me know. If you'd like to continue learning about mental health and neuroscience together, please consider subscribing to this channel. I hope this information might be helpful as you navigate your own workplace relationships. May your heart feel a little lighter, and thank you for listening until the end today.